Hello, the world, and hello, Squirrely Squad. So in this video, we're going to be talking about streaming software. Specifically, we're going to be comparing OBS and Streamlabs OBS, or Slobs, side by side in a way, doing some pros and cons. This is not meant to do a deep dive on one or both of those softwares. This is meant to be just a handful of minutes. This video is designed to help you choose very quickly which streaming software you should start with. So sorry for the never-ending portal into foreverness here, but I wanted to start with OBS, which, as you can see, is what I'm actually using right now. This is traditional OBS. OBS stands for Open Broadcasting Software. So OBS is this open source application designed to help you broadcast, stream, or record in the case that I'm doing right now. There are a lot of features in this. It's very, very feature rich, but a lot of the out-of-the-box integrations aren't necessarily there. This has been around for a very, very long time. This is probably the granddaddy of streaming softwares. A lot of streaming software kind of came about either branched off of OBS or branched off of some other softwares that were kind of around the same time as OBS. But I wanted to touch on OBS and Slobs just because they're kind of the top two competitors in today's landscape when it comes to streaming softwares. So if you look at traditional OBS and you look at kind of a pros and cons approach to this software, it is highly customizable. You can see that I've got some Twitch stuff here. I've got my Twitch activity. Oh, let me pull that out here. There we go. We've got my Twitch activity here. We've got some, my Twitch chat is here as well. You can see Twitch stats down at the bottom here, like how long I've been streaming for, how many people are watching, that type of thing. And then you've got your standard stuff like my scenes, my sources for each of those scenes, my audio mixing stuff, and then what I want to do here. You have a couple other things available to you, like you can go into studio mode here where you can make some edits before going live on the right, so edits on the left, live on the right. But these are things that are available in almost all streaming softwares today. So if we were to look specifically at what makes OBS different than Streamlabs OBS, I would say that the highly customizable aspect when it comes to plugins is a huge differentiator. Because OBS has been around for a very, very, very long time, if you want a third-party integration with some other application, some other website, or some other platform in general, OBS more than likely has it available somewhere. Whether the team that makes OBS has built it, or whether some random other person, because this is an open source software, some other person on the internet has maybe made that integration for you already. So you can just kind of Google search and find integrations on a whim whenever you kind of like, which is one of the big things that differentiates this from Streamlabs OBS, as we'll talk about in a second. Another pro to this is it's not tied to a single streamer platform. And what I mean by streamer platform is something like Streamlabs or something like Stream Elements, those types of things. Typically Streamlabs and Stream Elements, and we'll probably talk about this in another video, like what they actually are. But they're platforms on the internet that enable streamers to have different features available to them other than a streaming software. So maybe they provide the benefit of having alerts tied to your Twitch channel, or maybe they allow you to have a merch store, merchandise store, or things like that. So OBS, because it's been around for so long, it doesn't have a specific tie to any one streamer platform, like those I just mentioned. So that could be a pro for you. Maybe you don't want to have a tie to a single platform. And then finally, it's not going anywhere. It's been around for years. It's not going anywhere, and there are plenty of tutorials online for learning how to use OBS if you feel that it's a little intimidating. Which brings us to the cons. It is a little intimidating. It does not hold your hand when you fire it up. There are some importing features, but you can only use an importing feature if you have something to import. If you're brand new to the streaming world, you're not going to have anything to import into the software, so you're really left with a blank canvas and no tutorials, no hand-holding. You really need to search for that knowledge on your own. which, again, there are plenty of things across the internet, including this series that we're starting now. But you have full freedom to customize whatever you want, but that is also, in a way, a detriment, right? Because you have to customize everything. You have to customize all of your overlays, all of your alerts, etc. It's very do-it-yourself, and that can be intimidating to a lot of new players, new streamers to the scene, which I would imagine is probably yourself if you're watching this video. So that kind of brings us to Streamlabs OBS, or again, Slobs, as a lot of folks have kind of been known to call it to differentiate it from just standard OBS. This one is going to feel very similar to OBS. There's a lot of things that are the same, right? I mean, you're going to have your scenes, your sources in each scene, your audio mixer, your mini feed here, your stream chat on the right-hand side. But kind of the big differentiator between traditional OBS that we were just talking about and Streamlabs OBS is that Streamlabs OBS is insanely noob-friendly. If you're brand new to the streaming scene, then you probably don't know where to begin. Well, Streamlabs OBS is going to hold your hand. First off, it does require you, or at least you get the most features out of it, if you already have a Streamlabs account. So you get your Streamlabs account. I apologize for the dogs barking. You get your Streamlabs account. You fire up Streamlabs OBS, you log into your Streamlabs account through there, and you link that with your Twitch account, and it does hold your hand. First off, it'll go through like a bunch of optimization settings or optimization wizard kind of built in out of the box as soon as you fire it up for the first time. It's going to help you figure out what it believes are the best, most optimal settings for your for your general setup, your foundational setup in the software, from a bitrate point of view, from a canvas size point of view, like what resolution, those types of things. So that's kind of nice. It saves time, certainly, from figuring out some of that stuff on your own, at least before you wind up going in there and tweaking it yourself. Because there's Streamlabs integration, the Streamlabs integration goes as far as to including a Streamlabs integration right out of the box, right here in the platform, without having to go to the website. So you've got a bunch of alert stuff that you can integrate right out of the box. Some of it you have to pay for. If you have a Prime account, then you can then you get those available to your account. Themes are right out of the box too. So again, some of them you have to pay for, but some of them are free, and you can integrate these and add these directly into your overlays, into your scenes in the edit side. The merch store is also available here as well. Or actually, this is not the merch store, this is just a Streamlabs store, or an app store, so that you can bring in what third-party plugins and integrations are already available for Slobs. They exist right here for easy integration into your editing side of shop when you're bringing those into your scenes here. So again, not diving into the nitty-gritty of Streamlabs OBS, but one of the big differentiators at a high level is all of those integrations, because it integrates with Streamlabs. But that brings us to some of the cons. The integration with Streamlabs is a little restrictive, right? If you are looking for, if you're looking to be open up to having access to other streamer platforms like Stream Elements, for example, or like Betterworks is another functionality that's actually another plugin. Some of those third-party platforms exist and have integrations with regular OBS, but they do not, as of yet, have integrations with Streamlabs OBS. Stream Elements does have a lot of integrations. You can work that because a lot of the stuff is URLs, and we can probably talk about that on another video. But something like Betterworks, for example. Betterworks only has a plugin that's available for OBS as of right now, which is one of the reasons why I decided to move back to traditional OBS over Streamlabs OBS. There are a few other nuances between the two, but I did use Slobs for a solid year and a half or so right after it came out, because I found it just so much easier to work with, especially if you already rely heavily on a Streamlabs account and a lot of the Streamlabs platform functionality and features, the benefits of that. Another reason that I personally decided to kind of veer away from just being tied to Streamlabs was because of the merch store. Right now, I still primarily use the Streamlabs merch store, but I'm shopping around a little bit because international purchases are less available on the Streamlabs merch store as compared to some of the other merch stores out there. So that's just a personal piece there, but it is something to consider depending on who your audience is when you decide to start streaming. So be sure to look into some of the restricted elements that might exist with Streamlabs because Streamlabs OBS relies so heavily on that account base. So if we were to conclude, for streaming stuff here, what streaming software should you use? Well, let's be honest. This series is designed for newcomers to the scene, and if you are very well watching this and a newcomer or considering coming to the streaming scene and you know nothing about where to begin, then I would say that Streamlabs OBS is hands down going to be the best software for you to start using. You don't have to be tied to any one software at any given time. You can absolutely switch between them. So by all means, I recommend downloading and installing both. But if you're looking for a single one, then yes, hands down, Streamlabs would be the one to go with. It's going to hold your hand. It's going to help you every step along the way. But keep in mind that you will be tied to Streamlabs because of the ownership there. But if that's not going to bother you, then by all means, Streamlabs OBS is your way to go. But if you're willing to do a little DIY learning, search across the internet, find some videos on how to use it, then OBS is absolutely available to you and has quite a lot of functionality, just not necessarily out of the box. I hope this video has been helpful for you to figure out what streaming software you should use coming to the streaming scene. We'll catch you on the next video. Hey Squirrely Squad, I just want to say thank you for being such an encouragement to me. And if you ever need some one-on-one encouragement, someone to pray for you, or maybe just someone to listen, you can always send me a note at the website below or email me at info@squirrels.tv. And if you liked this video, I would be eternally grateful if you'd smash that like button so others might be able to find it too. And be sure to subscribe so you can be notified when new content comes out just like it. And as always, folks, stay squirrely.